Okay, welcome back to another Between the Pages book chat. And today our guest is author Thomas Kast, and we're here to talk about his sci-fi book, The Great Convergence. And now I'm going to turn it over to him and let him introduce himself. So take it away.
Hello, I'm Thomas Kast. I'm the author of The Great Convergence, very, very, very weird philosophical science fiction novel, um, which is about pretty much everything and nothing. In a nutshell, uh, there's a grumpy academic working at a dead-end job 10 million years in the future. His research doesn't go anywhere, so he travels back in time to the year of 2022 to find solutions to the riddle plaguing him. And things get out of hand. Uh, the story centers on his feud with Scott, another researcher from a competing academy. There is also Larry, who is the so-called singular. Singular is a person who resides, who can, well, I try to make it short and sweet. We all have doppelgangers living in different universes. Now, Larry isn't the only one, and he switches between universes. And whenever he appears and disappears, things go high wire, and he doesn't know that he switches between universes. There's another character, Jeffrey, unsuccessful artist who creates portals to another dimensions. He doesn't know that. Basically, what he does is he's making weird sculptures to impress his girlfriend. But ugly as they have a completely different function. Last but not least, there's Timothy, an astrophysicist who is probably schizophrenic, and he fights legions of his versions coming from different universe, and again things uh, go out of control. The whole novel is set from the researcher's point of view, who is highly biased, and most of the time is lying. So you have to read between the lines and understand what's really going on. That's a challenge for the reader. Lots of humor, black humor. It sounds heavy, but I try to make it as light as possible. Some deep philosophical issues, but lightly put, more or less. That's the novel.
Well, it sounds like a lot of fun to me because you've got parallel universes, time travel, a whole lot of fun in it by the sound of it. So, what inspired you to write the book?
Well, in part, my own life. I'm an ex-academic, and I take a few shots at the world of academia. Uh, I'm an artist, although not as unsuccessful as Jeffrey, but I relate to artists trying to make a living and trying to create something unique, not getting anywhere. I have Asperger's syndrome, which means I'm not crazy, but I relate to people with mental issues also because I'm also a photojournalist. I've been I'm still working on material. I've been shooting and writing book about schizophrenia patients living at an asylum. The project is going for a couple of years now, and I hope to finish it soon. And this was also inspiration. I mean, Timothy, who is probably schizophrenic. He's not a typical mentally ill person, but a lot of he's a lot of what he does comes from real life observation.
Okay, tell us a little bit about the main character. What's he like? He sounds like a bit like an unreliable narrator as well. So,
Well, he's, like I said, he's stuck in a dead end job. He hates his life. He hates his work. He hates pretty much everything. He's really, really grumpy, but uh, and he's obnoxious, and he's dead set on getting tenure. Tenure, and for him, tenure is more important than absolutely anything else. He's willing to do absolutely anything, including wrecking the whole universe, and he almost does it. Is essentially really self-centered. Is anything you wouldn't like to be, but at the same time, is a parody of a character um, you would expect to see at an academia. Is a skewed image of humanity, and by making things happen to him, I try to make the reader relate to a character such as him. It's you know why he's acting the way he does. He's not just an empty um, shell of a person whose life didn't turn out the way he liked it to be. So you may not like him, but you may relate to him. You may know. I mean, you may understand why is he doing it? Why? Probably I would do the same thing, being the situation. And in a way, it's funny what he says, what he does, the observation of the world and the world of the future. I didn't want to create something too tangible. Like most of science fiction authors write about future, like I don't know, a couple of hundred years from now, maybe like the year 3000 or something. So for me, it was 10 million. Okay, it's absolutely everything is possible. And just to give you a sense of what's going on, they have a lab at the university when where they create universes, so they can run tests on them. There is a fountain spewing streams of time instead of water, and things happen, of course, and stuff like that. So everybody has a time machine in the garage. And by the way, the main character, he hates time travel. He absolutely hates it because it's a bother. It's a trouble. You'd rather work on his research, boring as it is, but he's really committed. Anyway, so yeah, that's more or less that. Oh, by the way, he hasn't got a name, and he hasn't got any description in the book. I did it on purpose because I wanted him to be the voice in the reader's mind. It's basically like something in your thought. You can imagine him any way you like, which I think also makes him a little bit more relatable. All the other characters, they have a little description. He doesn't have any.
Okay, so what was the hardest scene or type of scene that you wrote in the book?
The hardest scene, there will be quite a few. One of those I think happens at the end. The Timothy, the mentally ill astrophysicist, he carries a plush crocodile with him at all times, and he talks to him. And there's people he suspects that some of the people he talks to might not be real, but he never knows which, who is real and who is not. For some odd reason, he believes the crocodile, and the crocodile talks back to him, gives him advices, and at some point, when he's doing something horrible, he's about to blow up the whole building full of people because he believes that the being from other dimensions are coming through the portal created by Jeffrey. Long story short, he talks to the crocodile, and the crocodile says, at least we have one another. But he's alone. So it was a kind of a emotional scene, I guess. And by the way, I mean, when you think about science fiction, you think about robots shooting lasers and stuff like that. And there's a lot of descriptions of the future in my book, but mostly I concentrate on the emotions of the characters. It's a book about people. It's not about stuff, and it's not about world building. It's not about technology. The tech you read about is beyond any understanding or imagination. It doesn't matter. What matters is what the characters feel, how they react, how they relate to one another. So in a way, it's again, it's a book about us, about people, about what does it mean to be alive? What does it mean to be a part of something you don't understand and you don't have any control over?
Yeah, that's always good in a book, and especially in a sci-fi book, I think. I read a lot of sci-fi books that have had some nice deep emotional resonance to them.
For
So,
example,
well, The Lathe of Heaven by Ursula K. Le Guin, that's a very
mm,
emotional sci-fi book. I really enjoyed that one. Um, so, what was your favorite scene that you wrote in the book?
well, I guess that would be money. For some odd reason, I like the beginning. It's basically the setup for the whole book. The researcher, the nameless researcher, sits on university and in the course of writing, his reader gets more and more angry, and he's so worked up that he comes home and relates everything to his wife, and she doesn't really answer, and you can understand from what's going on. She heard it so many times. She just doesn't react. So he goes at that and this and that and Scott this and Scott that and she goes, do you want a pie? You woman, you have to listen. You have to comprehend it. More tea. So you can basically, I never, at no point I say that he is a frustrated. You just have to understand it to what, how much frustrated he is and how what's going on in his life. All of a sudden, he just breaks. She entices him to take some time off. Okay, but instead he goes to the garage, fires up the time machine, and says, "Okay, I'm gonna get to the bottom of it," and then the whole thing starts. I really like the first. I know I've written like 400 pages, but I like the first chapter. And there's lots of going on. Especially, I really like I really like all the descriptions of the future, which is really weird and again, it's really surreal, as you would expect from something like 10 million years. Yeah, 10 million years from now. So all that. So at some point, the university starts his office with weird mutations he's supposed to take care of. Why? Because they want to cut costs, and he has some space in the office, so he's working surrounded by ugly, horrifying mutations in the jars that look at him with horrifying eyes. And at some point, he breaks one of the jars on accident, and the mutant dies. So he takes the mutant, throws it into the incinerator in the basement. And then he starts doing it on purpose. He just at some point, one after one, whenever he gets angry, takes a mutation, breaks the jar, and watches the abominations burn through the pothole. And just again, I don't say anything about how frustrated he is, but you can see what's going on. Again, what it's about the character. The way it sounds, by the way, I'm talking about frustration and anger. So it's not an angry book, okay? There's also my characters are frustrated people, and they're all losers. Okay, no one is there's no nice people. They're horrible people, all of them. But at the same time, it's kind of funny the way they see the world. Okay, they are really biased, and they never see the bigger picture. And all the situations that they got into are tragic and comical at the same time. Uh, so anyway, I already forgot the question you asked.
Well, you answered it, so don't worry about it.
Okay.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about some of the other characters. What are they like?
Okay, so Larry, for example, he's an art critic. He's a professional art critic, and he hates art for a variety of reasons. So at some point, he stops going to exhibitions. But he has a talent for writing fantastic reviews, and he makes it up, and he's so good at it, but he's highly influential. So he never sees the art he writes about, and yet he's someone who can make or break someone's career. And at some point, he selects participants of the Scarlet Book Festival of Arts at random, completely just checks and unchecks the spreadsheet checkboxes. Okay, and he's highly praised for his amazing curatorial work. and uh, and there's a whole chapter on him. He's under close scrutiny from the future. There are flies, and the researchers from the future use flies as um, spying devices. So wherever he goes, there's always two flies flying somewhere in the vicinity. He doesn't know why, but it's annoying. But yeah, sure, whatever. He carries on with his day, and as he switches between universes, so do the flies.
Oh, that's a cool
So
detail. Yeah, one of our viewers likes your art critic who doesn't do doesn't come to the art exhibitions.
okay, and another one, Timothy. Like I say, he's a genius astrophysicist. And by the way, there was a scene in my book that was really hard to write, and that was a challenge. He's the one who comes up with the concept of the Great Convergence, what it is and what it does, why is it important, and it's never clearly explained, but the reader should get a picture. So because he's mentally ill and he's very gifted at the same time, so at one point he presents his finding to the university panel, and he rambles like crazy. Okay, and this is how he explains the matter at hand. So why was it challenging? Because I didn't want to do a hard sci-fi where you explain something and here's the logic and here's how it works, because it's boring. So you have a very important subject explained by a crazy person who is rambling senselessly, and you have to make sense. And I've written in a way so that the reader can make sense of what's going on. So you can imagine. And so what about this character? He's also under close scrutiny. And by the way, you have to. There's this one detail I omitted. All the people from the future, they travel with amphibians. Okay, they have a fishbowl with water and an amphibian in it. A frog, a newt, so, different amphibian, but they have an amphibian. Why do they have an amphibian? You don't know, but you know that these amphibians have magical like powers. Again, it's the future, like 10 million years from now, so you have no idea what's going on, but this is really important. I was saying that the time traveler, he travels with Rupert, his pet frog, and he talks to him at all times. And there's at one point I describe crazy things, crazy stuff happening to Timothy, and most likely it's an illusion. And at some point, he wakes up to a really lucid dream. There's a bunch of people with fishbowls with amphibians arguing over his body. He can't move. He's completely paralyzed, and one of them is moving a thought reader over his head. And they realize, oh, hey, he's awakened. Somebody snaps the fingers and it goes to sleep again. And he thinks it's all fiction. It's all his dream. This wasn't, apparently. Um, and he's a tragic character, because the characters is alternative versions from other universes. Um, well, pure evil, and he finds out slowly. He's very trustworthy towards his own self from different universes, and he built this huge observatory in the middle of a desert, and then people start appearing, and they come, they keep coming, and more of them, and more of them, and they completely take over his research, his life, the tower. He blows it up and escapes, only to be chased by the alternative versions further. Anyway, so one of the characters, and again, you can't trust him because he's mentally ill. So you have to understand what's going on, given it's a mentally ill person telling you what's going on. Jeffrey is a work of art. he's really frustrated, talentless, really talentless artist, and he grows this obsession of being of being able to. He wants to be the greatest artist that ever lived. And by accident, he gets invited because Larry, the curator, checks and unchecks the boxes randomly. He selects him for the festival. And by the way, there's an interesting scene. Jeffrey writes submissions to every festival, every art curator, every gallery, and he tries and nothing works. And at some point, he gets drunk. And he writes this really crazy, angry letter to Larry, like full of curse words, and all of you don't understand me, and F word, and whatnot. And Larry is really frustrated with his life at the same time. So he writes, and you can see he reads emails. Larry is sitting at home. He reads, Mr. Patel, you are the most, you're a wonderful curator. I would like to be, and delete. He hits delete, email after email. It just doesn't go. And all of a sudden, he starts reading Jeffrey's email. You, F word. And it gets him thinking. It starts thinking. Goes on, all of a sudden he writes, "So, Mr. Jeffrey, I cordially invite you to take part in the festival." And then he gets to all of a sudden he gets invited, and he builds this huge sculpture, which is the greatest interdimensional portal ever created. Incidentally, he hasn't got an idea. So all these things converge. Okay. By the way, I never told you what the Great Convergence is. Probably I should have started with that. So in a nutshell, okay, a very simple thing. Every incident creates supposedly alternative universe. You flip a coin, make the different choices, the universe splits. Now the problem is that you can't create something out of nothing. So eventually, these universes has to be nullified, and the way it works, you have the so-called divergence. So let's say I flip a coin, I go one way, and I don't know, win a lottery, and I go the other way and do something else. And there's two versions of me living in two different universes. Now, all of a sudden, in both places, a play kills off everyone. So this is the divergence, and basically, what happens is all these excessive universes get nullified. And the Great Convergence is like the ultimate multiverse cleanup. Everything gets cleaned up all at once. And this is what happens when the Jeffrey builds the portal. Timothy, I don't want to give away some stuff, but everybody's involved, and things go completely highwire. It happens in the exhibition. Anyway.
Okay, so you obviously write sci-fi, but and I know you've written a comic series as well. Are there any other genres or types of medium you want to try as for your writing?
For my yes, I'm a photojournalist, so I've published 2 books on a photography subject. So this is more of a photojournalist stuff. Lots of photos, and it's same. Okay. One of those is is about my trip to China, and it centers around the biggest one of the biggest wet markets in Asia, in Macau specifically. And by the way, I'm a vegan, yeah. So the wet markets, the stuff you see is just like terrifying. And also, I did the shoot for a couple of days. And it's not, creatures that I've had no idea have existed, getting quartered and chopped up alive. It's just at the same time, with all the cruelty going on, the place is absolutely beautiful. The lightning, the setup, it's like, I think I write at the end of the book that if hell was beautiful, this is how it would look like. So there's this strong juxtaposition of this incredible beauty, the incredible light and color. Okay, what's going on with the horrifying, ghastly stuff that we are witnessing. And I remember that at the end of the shoot, I was sitting on a sidewalk. I just stuck my head between the knees and started swaying and I don't know, moaning for at least an hour. And this is what when the whole thing got into me. Anyway, wow, it's
Okay.
just lots of scary stuff I do. Turns out.
Well, I think we'll wrap the interview up here. It was a pleasure chatting with you. Your book sounds fascinating. And thank you for being the guest today.
And thank you for having me, for patience, and for bearing with me.
Okay, so between the pages may or may not be back next week. We're still waiting on a confirmation from our author, but we will be back the following week with another author. So we'll see you then, and bye for now.